What's going on, y'all? Fort Worth Fabian. We are back with a reaction video, man. We're doing a reaction to this story of the black student who was found hanging on Mississippi campus, some college. I believe it says Delta State University. So we're gonna actually do a NBC News reaction and do a reaction from Anton Daniels. So let's go ahead and hop into it. And my apologies on the mic to all the subscribers and watchers. I'm in the process of getting a new mic right now. I'm not sure what's wrong with the current one I have. The audio's been kind of off. But hey, improved audio in the future. I'm still going to knock out videos though. So with that being said, man, like, comment, subscribe. Let's get into the video.
Authorities say the body of 21-year-old Demontravion Trey Reed was found hanged from a tree by a faculty member near the pickleball courts. Word spread quickly throughout the Cleveland campus, leaving students and others concerned and worried.
Well, because I am a black student, hearing that happened to another black student, it really made me feel, it's make me feel unsafe.
I do have to walk to class, and I like to go walk on the track. And it would be happy to know like what happened.
Local and state investigators immediately started looking into the incident. DSU Police Chief Michael Peeler says investigators found no evidence of foul play.
But pending an investigation, further investigation, and also from the medical examiner's office, we won't have more information until that part has been done.
And members of Reed's family are insisting on a thorough investigation.
Please, 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 please do your research on this. Do not let them sweep nothing else under the rug. Enough is enough.
University President Daniel Enos says the discovery left him heartbroken as he extended his condolences to Reed's family and friends. He added DSU would help students, faculty, and staff with the grief.
Obviously, condolences, right? Prayers out to the family. That's first and foremost. Whenever somebody loses a life and it's by, these extreme means, or we don't even know what it was, essentially. They're assuming it wasn't foul play. But first and foremost, condolences and prayers out to the family. The next point I kind of want to jump into is the fact that this is what I don't like when people automatically make it a black or a race thing. You saw a couple of students speak, I'm black, I'm in fear for my life, without any context of understanding whether it was a hate crime. This could have been black on black violence. So this is my thing. We live in a clown world to where everybody assumes it's like racism. Oh my, I'm black, I don't want it to happen to me. But like, if we look at the reality of the world, black on black crime is committed at the utmost rate, right? Inner city kids, gang, street violence, but no conversations mentioned on those topics. And I'm going to play devil's advocate, right? Because we can spin it both ways. And we're going to kind of talk about Charlie Kirk on this as well, because this is what I don't like about the mainstream media. And this is what I don't like about what people are saying now. People are saying that he was a racist. Charlie Kirk was not a racist. He was not a racist. He held people accountable, period. And that's whoever you were. Now, he was an extremist. Let's say that. So a lot of his takes, people took to the extreme, or he would even take them to the extreme, right? That don't mean he deserved to be murdered or assassinated. With that being said, he was only paid in cold, hard facts and truth. If you don't like it, get out the kitchen, right? I'm not going to sit here and get offended when he talks about the problems within a black community. It's statistics. You can see the numbers. And people want to call him a racist because it's a white person saying something. That's like you telling me I need to be a mathematician to know that 2 + 2 is 4. Do I need to be a mathematician to do simple math? I do not. I'm able to speak on a subject because the stats are there. The information is there. There's research done. There's actually verifiable fact and truth on it. That doesn't make him a racist, man. And that's why I don't like. And it's literally it's the liberals, obviously, but it's like black women that are, and I'm not gonna say all, but there's a big group of them who are ganging up, and there's countless people who black women have attacked after they've died. We can talk about Kevin Samuels as well. If y'all know who Kevin Samuels, male self-improvement expert, podcaster, YouTuber, content creator, whatever you want to call him. He would talk about the realities within the black community and in the world, period, between male and female dynamics. And guess who glorified when he died? Black women. There's a very visible problem with a certain community of black women, bro. And I'm saying it's the inner city ones, the ratchets. There's very educated, articulate, smart, know how to hold themselves accountable, well presentable black women. But then there's a certain group, a subgroup that is just pure evil. So let's get into this, man. Anton Daniels, and see what he has to say. A reactor and content creator. I do like his takes every once in a while. So let's see what he has to say about it.
The tragic death of a student at Delta State University. The body of a freshman at the university located in Cleveland, Mississippi, was found sadly hanging from a tree on campus early this morning. Disturbing for all of those on campus. Officials with the university say there is no evidence of foul play. WRG's Mike Sirianni has more from the Delta State campus.
Earlier today, Delta State staff discovered a deceased individual on campus. University police and local authorities were immediately notified and are conducting an active investigation.
During a Monday afternoon press conference on the campus of Delta State University, it was announced the body of 21-year-old Demartravian Trey Reed of Grenada, a freshman at DSU, was found hanging from a tree near the pickleball courts not far from the campus cafeteria.
I've spoken to Trey's family and expressed our heartbreak.
The discovery was made just after 7 a.m. Classes, as well as several events associated with the university's centennial, were canceled.
At this time, there's no evidence of foul play.
A joint investigation is being conducted by DSU Police, the Cleveland PD, Bolivar County Sheriff's Department, and the Mississippi Bureau of Investigation. University officials stress their belief the Delta State campus is one of the safest in Mississippi.
There is no evidence of a threat to campus, and there's no evidence that the campus is unsafe at this point. So I expect we will resume normal operations as soon as possible.
Monday, I spoke with Trey Reed's mother. She did not want to go on camera, but told me she has so many questions about what happened. She said she just talked to her son Friday that he was excited about attending Delta State University as a freshman. She can't find any reason for this tragedy. For your news leader in Cleveland, Mississippi, Mike Sirianni, WREG.
So let me tell you what my initial thoughts of this whole thing is that my initial thoughts, as usual, will always be prayers for the family. They say that he was from Grenada. I think that's over in Spain. But prayers for the family. And I never, ever, ever like to see death, especially people seemingly going before their time. All right? That's number one. Always going to give condolences over to the family. The second thing that my second thought is, there needs to be an extreme heavy investigation, because I do not believe that it is suspected no foul play. The only way that you can convince me that there is no foul play here, and let's be clear, I don't believe in extremes on either side. The only way that you can convince me that there's no foul play is if it had to be a step stool or something, and even then, I think you need to investigate this type of thing to the fullest extent. 100%. And so I don't want to jump to conclusions, because what I like to deal with is facts. I'm
going to jump to this is my conclusion, right? This is what I'm going to say immediately. And this is what I wanted to preface with before we got into this. I think this is a play by the powers that be, some of these puppeteers, puppet masters, moving pieces on the chessboard. A narrative is being painted right now in the U.S. that it's race wars, it's gender wars. There's some evil hierarchy behind everything so that it deteriorates the country. You can already see how the Charlie Kirk situation divided everybody, right? It's always been left versus right, but now it's to an extreme. People are willing to shed blood over it, right? It's getting crazy. And this is why I believe we're in end times. We're in end times. The stuff with gender, the Transformers, people going at it, race wars, it's getting crazy. And I think this is a move on the chessboard. And I wouldn't even call it, I'll call it checkers, because they think we can't see through this, and they're trying to pin black versus white, white versus black. That's why I had contention slightly with the kids in the beginning. I'm black, and I don't know if this was a black on black crime, you wouldn't be saying any of that. You know what I mean? So we got to leave benefit of the doubt in some sense, to where at this point, I don't believe anything the mainstream media, any picture they paint, I don't believe it. They just look for headlines, they look for clicks, they look for a reaction, and they look to stir the pot, point blank, period. So I'm not with this rah rah. I can see through it. They're trying to pin people against each other because it's going to cause destruction, and it's going to cause people to delete other people, eliminate other people. This is evil at the highest form, and this is the beginning of it, to where some of these seeds are being trickled or sprinkled around, and people are assuming, oh, it's because this and that. You even saw the kid crying on camera. Enough is enough. You can tell he's already assuming or running with the narrative. It's a hate crime.
Like to deal in facts. Somebody actually brought this to my attention, and so I went and researched it. They didn't even send this to me in my email, but they brought it to my attention while I was in a Millionaire Morning Show, and I was reading Super Chats, and they said, Anton, had you seen anything about this whole Delta situation, this Delta University hanging over in Mississippi? And I said, no, I hadn't seen it, but this morning I'm going through and I'm trying to figure out what it is that I want to talk about on the show this morning, and it came back in my mind and I said, okay, well, let me go and do some research on this to find out. So one of my gripes that I have is with the national media, and that's across the board. MSNBC, ABC, Fox News, CNN, right? And I have my own gripes with liberal media. But this seems like this would be a story, and shout out to the local news stations because I'm going to highlight those. This seemed like it would be a story that I wouldn't have to dig so hard to go and find. And trust and believe, when you start to talk about local news stations, that's not big, right? If you're not talking about a big market like a Miami or Los Angeles or New York, then the local news stations really don't get a lot of love. They don't get a lot of visibility. It's almost like being in the NBA, but you're in a small market, right? And it seems like this is a story that would have been picked up by the national news.
Everybody's milking the Charlie Kirk situation. If you look at all the media outlets, look at their channels. They got 15 to 20 recent videos, conspiracy theories behind Charlie Kirk. The left is doing this, and it's vice versa. Fox News pointing fingers at, or some of these guys, NBC pointing news at their counterpart, like at the opposition. They're just going back and forth. But point being is they're milking the Charlie Kirk situation right now. That is a bigger talking point than anything else. I agree with Anton to an extent. I think that this will raise some concerns in some people's eyes. But this isn't going to be headlines. You know what I mean? It's a minority, first and foremost. When you see stories like this really take the forefront of a newspaper or the top listing on a blog site or a media outlet, publication, it doesn't happen like that unless it's a very extreme case to where it grasps the whole nation. But it seemed like a small little college in Mississippi. I don't know. How big this college is, but if it's like a big school, more than likely it would catch big waves and headlines. But honestly, I think they're just twisting things.
And I get stories every single day and visibility every single day. But this should be just as much investigated as anything else that's in the national news that brings visibility to any atrocity that happens in any community inside of the United States of America.
No, bro. That's where I disagree, because you know how many people live in the U.S.? You know how many atrocities like this occur in the small towns, the mid-towns, the mid-sized towns, and then to tack on the large cities? Not every story can be covered. A lot of these places don't even have ample news coverage, ample media representation to even hit the streets, hit the campuses, gather statements, XYZ, witness statements, or anything that anybody saw or caught note of. There's not the capacity to fulfill that request. Let's be honest. There's millions of people like in the U.S. So, well, what are we talking about? No, not every story would be covered. If that was the case, people would be literally waiting in line just to have their story heard. The narrative is being painted that this should be blasted across the airwaves because what? They're trying to make it a race thing. They're trying to make it a hate crime. That's why people think it's like, oh, this should be Come on, man. Some people need to really critical think every once in a while. Not everything is personal. And this ties back to even the Charlie Kirk stuff. Not everything is about you. Not everything is about you. People, destroying the murals for Charlie. Oh, he hated black people. They can't get the feelings out of it. And this is a lot of feminized men and, of course, women. You know what I mean? Naturally, women in their emotions. Because they can't critical think to the point that I was mentioning earlier, that they only clip the parts about where Charlie's made a 15, 20-second clip, maybe 5-second clip. Charlie says something extreme, and that's the whole story. They don't watch the whole talking point. They don't watch the whole speech because they're immediately checked out and triggered. And this is my point, that nobody can critical think and say that if the shoe fits, we'll all be. But nobody can critical think and say, hey, this is a reality. Like, look at the statistics of the country we live in. But, oh, no, he can't talk about black people. He's not black. And it's like, that's just clown world. That's clown world conversation to me. Hold yourself accountable. Hold other people accountable. When wrong is wrong, wrong is wrong.
Err on the side of caution in the beginning of this conversation because, again, I don't like doing retracting statements. I don't like going and figuring it out and then saying, oh, okay, well, there's nothing there or whatever, right? Or, oh, man, so I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait because I'm not emotional, because I don't make illogical decisions when it comes to jumping to conclusions. I'm going to wait to find out what the higher up investigations are saying about this whole thing because, again, it does seem a little fishy. It does seem a little weird.
It seems staged. Like, not to take away from the death. And that's what I'm not trying to minimalize what happened here. But there's things that, like I'm saying, that there's people operating in the background that have way more power than the average American in society. The average American in society is very ignorant, is going to believe everything the media tells them, not realizing and understanding that the government and them boys are playing people like a fiddle. Let's show them this. You know how many? Do y'all realize why conspiracy theories exist? Because there has been proof to some fraudulence. You know what I'm saying? Like, people's bogus. They don't paint the true pictures. There's so many cases of things that have gone down in history to where they kind of did some research and things didn't add up. Even with 9/11. So for people to just dismiss it and be like, oh, this is just that. Nah, man. I honestly believe they're trying to pin the country against each other, whether it's from a political standpoint, a gender standpoint, a race standpoint. Like, see through the BS. Y'all, people need to wake up. Y'all got to see through this. This is the end times, man. This is the end. I honestly believe we're reaching that point to where the world is just deteriorating. It's deteriorating, y'all. So we're going to end it there. I agree with Anton 100%. You got to get the facts. Let's get the factuals. And then after that, we can have a conversation. But just putting out a story, obviously, we're telling the truth, right? Someone died. Somebody lost their life. There's grieving parents. So prayers out and condolences. But like I said, this is these guys trying to make a move on the checkerboard. I don't call it chess because I see right through it. But for a lot of y'all out there, this is a chess move and y'all don't even realize it. Wake up and smell the coffee, man. I pray the goodness, grace, and mercy of Jesus Christ touches every single person that come across this video, man. Turn your life to God. That's the only truth. Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. So a lot of this bogus BS that's going on in the world today, man, dismiss it. Don't buy into all this too much. I'm telling you, it's not worth it, man. So peace, love, prosperity. God bless y'all, man. We will see y'all in the next reaction video.